begin the forum, we just wanted to give similar introductory comments that we gave to the council candidates, but in case you guys didn't hear, we're going to repeat them again. Hello. Thank you for participating in the League of Women Voters of Dearborn Heights Candidate Forum. My name is Paula Bowman. I'm a member of the Northwest Wayne County League. I live in Plymouth, so I will not be voting in this election. Mary Jo Duravage, the league president for Dearborn Heights, will open and welcome the audience and then turn the forum over to me. I'll make some introductory remarks and then begin by asking each candidate to give a 1-minute opening statement. The initial speaking order was determined by picking a card, and as it happened, Mr. Garcia picked the lowest number, so we'll start with him. Thereafter, as we proceed with the questions, the order will be moved. Every candidate will have the same amount of time, 1 minute to answer the same question. We'll continue to ask questions until the time is up. Questions are a mixture of those developed by the league or received from tonight's audience, and we've gotten plenty of great questions from the audience. Your time begins when you start to speak. The league timekeeper, Tricia Yoakum, will raise the yellow card to warn you that you're almost ready to quit. And then when it's time for you to stop, she'll hold up the red card. Even if you're in the middle of a sentence, we ask that you respect the card and stop. As stated in the guidelines that you received with your invitation, the moderator is in charge of the forum at all times. Candidates should not make personal attacks on other candidates. Such attempts will be cut short. The moderator's decision on this matter shall stand, even if the decision to cut off the candidates was made in error. At the end of the question and answer section, I'll give each of you an opportunity to make a 2-minute closing statement. And again, you don't have to use your full minute for the opening or the question answering or the 2 minutes completely for the closing. I will then make remarks and close the forum. Are there any questions? Yes, they are. But I do ask that you pull them close to you. We had some trouble at the forum before. You may have been here for that. I'm going to introduce now our Dearborn Heights League President, Mary Jo Duravage.
Hello, and welcome to the League of Women Voters of Dearborn Heights Candidate Forum for the August 8th primary election. This is the forum for those running to be mayor of the city of Dearborn Heights. My name is Mary Jo Duravage, and the League's president. This program is presented and produced as a public service by the League of Women Voters in cooperation with the city of Dearborn Heights. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan national organization which encourages the informed and active participation of citizens in government. The League never supports or opposes candidates or political parties. Membership is open to men and women aged 16 or older. The League of Women Voters would like to thank the city of Dearborn Heights for making this important public service event possible. It will begin airing on YouTube on June 28th. It will appear on the city's cable system for 1 week only, beginning July 4th. The League of Women Voters wants every eligible voter to inform themselves and to vote on August 8th. Contact the city clerk's office for an absentee ballot if you'll be away. And if you aren't sure whether you're registered or not, also call the city clerk or go to the Michigan Secretary of State's website. Now I am delighted to introduce the moderator of tonight's forum, Paula Bowman, a member of the Northwest Wayne County League of Women Voters.
Good evening. Today is Thursday, June 22nd, and we are taking this forum in the council chambers of the Dearborn Heights City Hall. As always, the League of Women Voters is not responsible for the views expressed by the candidates. Members of the audience, we request that you please turn off or mute your cell phones and that no recording devices be used without league authorization. We also ask that you limit flash photography. We don't want it to be a distraction to the candidates. Please also maintain silence. We do not want applause after candidates speak. We would like to maintain an oasis of neutrality. You can clap at the end of the forum. The candidates have agreed to the following plans. The order in which the candidates speak has been determined by drawing lots. As it happens, Mr. Garcia picked the first card card, so he will be speaking first. Each candidate will have 1 minute to make an opening statement, 1 minute to answer the questions, and then there will be a 2-minute closing statement. We will rotate the order of questions so the same person is not answering first each time. The timekeeper is Tricia Yakum, and she is a lead member. She will raise a card to notify the candidates when they are nearing the end of their session, and then the red stop card to indicate that they must stop. Questions are a mixture of those developed by the lead and those from tonight's audience. Questions are screened to prevent duplication, personal attacks, and those which address only one candidate. Time does not allow for all the questions to be asked, and we encourage you to contact the candidates directly if your question was not answered. Contact information is included at vote411.org and in the paper copies of the voter guide. 3 candidates are running to fill one position for a 4-year term as mayor of the city of Dearborn Heights. You may only vote for one. Their names in alphabetical order are Ed Garcia, Lisa Hicks Clayton, and Daniel Paletko. We're going to start our forum now, and we'll start with our opening statement with Mr. Garcia.
Well, good evening, and thank you to the League of Women Voters and all of those that are here in the audience and those that will be watching this on TV. My name is Ed Garcia, and I'm a candidate running for the office of mayor for the city of Dearborn Heights. I'm also a retiree. I'm a retired police officer from the city after 25 years of service, and I'm currently working for a company in Sterling Heights called Root Stall. I am a project manager in the corporate security department and an outreach individual with our company. I currently serve as a board member for the Crestwood School District Board of Education, and I'm here today to be able to answer your questions. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hicks Clayton.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa Hicks Clayton. I'm a mother of 3. I have my bachelor's degree in political science from the University of Florida. I also have my teaching certificate from Schoolcraft College. I have worked as an educator for 23 years. I have over 30 years experience in government, including 6 years serving you as your city council member. In addition, I serve on the Disability Commission and the Commission on Aging. I develop community programs that benefit our youth as well as our families and our senior citizens as an active Kiwanis member. It is my honor to serve you and represent you on issues that are important to our community. I am the candidate who believes in and will commit to open discussions, real transparency, and true open door policy. I am running for mayor because I want a city hall that works for you.
Thank you. Mr. Paletko, your opening statement.
I want to thank the League of Women Voters for holding this particular event. I'm a product of the local community. Graduated from Crestwood High School, University of Michigan Dearborn, Henry Ford Community College, University of Detroit with an MBA, and a master's degree in tax from Wayne State University. I am a certified public accountant, presently still licensed, a homeowner, a retired manager from Ford Motor Company in the financial area and the tax area. I'm very proud that I have had the opportunity and continue to have the opportunity to be the mayor of Dearborn Heights. I consider that a real privilege. This is one of the greatest communities, if not the greatest community.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia, we'll start our first question with you. What, if any, changes can the residents expect to see in your first year of mayor, as if elected or re-elected?
Well, what we are going to do is we are going to make sure that we have an open door policy. That's one of our objectives. We want to make sure that the residents of Dearborn Heights understand that we are working for you. With that being said, thinking outside the box, it's time for a change. It is time to move the city forward, a city with a future, a city with a true future. And we want to make sure that our staff, our administration, are answering those difficult questions that may be coming forward, specifically anything that is regarding our financial status, as well as the heated topics that have been purchasing the property throughout the city of Dearborn Heights.
Thank you. Ms. Hicks Clayton?
Would you repeat the question, please?
Sure. What, if any, changes can the residents expect to see in your first year as mayor if elected?
The changes, as mayor, that I would like to see, which would benefit our community, includes increased communication opportunities. This is done through a variety of things, including town hall meetings, a newsletter, an e-letter, as well as mailing that go out quarterly so residents are informed. I want to encourage civic engagement through a citizen advisory council and outreach. We need to be in our neighborhoods, talking with our residents, engaging them, and hearing what's important to them in order to create a vision together to move our city forward as a city of the future. Some of these things include revitalization of our neighborhoods and also supporting our public safety through resources that they need to be successful in community policing.
Thank you. Mr. Collecto?
One of the things that I am fearful of is the business cycle, and that we're gonna go through another recession in the near future. And I think that's exactly where someone like myself is the strength of this particular city. Not too many years ago, we had a deficit. We now have currently a 5.4 million surplus in our fund balance. This city is a $80 million operation. It's important that we have leadership that can deal with those kind of numbers and those kind of challenges that one receives. I will indicate, I keep hearing things about open door. I'm the only full-time elected official that doesn't have a plexiglass on his door, and residents are always more than welcome to come in and chat. I also make myself available all around the community, and I always find very fascinating the interesting discussions I have with residents.
Thank you. Ms. Hicks Clayton will start this next question with you. Basic city services such as street cleaning are very uneven. How can this be improved?
One thing I see that's happening, we're hearing from residents are concerned with delivery of services, including basic services, whether it's the street sweeping, it may be the tree trimming, even the garbage service that we currently have. There is concern there. What I would like to see as mayor is bringing forward the 5-day work week so we can restore that, as well as doing our basic services very well. We have to be good at the basics to deliver what the taxpayers are expecting, what you pay for your taxes. You should have that. We should be delivering that. And as mayor, I would ensure that that happens by working with my department heads to address those issues that concern you and daily improvement of quality of life.
Mr. Colecco?
Can you repeat the question?
Basic city services such as street cleaning are very uneven. How can this be improved?
The basic services and the ones that I concentrate and give top priority is police and fire. The fire department, we just added an additional EMS unit, and I know that the runs have continually gone up, and I was very concerned that we have quick response service and ambulance, and we have achieved that now with the third rig that just started. The services in the DPW are getting better, and one of the things we have consistently monitored is the street sweeping, tree trimming, and others, and we will continue to improve in those particular areas.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia?
Developing a preventative maintenance program and plan, placing the administrators in charge of putting a program together so that during a specific month, during a specific season, there are things that are taking place, whether it be street sweeping, tree trimming, or the general maintenance of the city buildings. So having a good program in place is vital. And that is a basic service, as well as I would agree with the police and fire, just making sure that the officers are responding, the fire department are responding to the needs of the community.
Thank you. Mr. Coletto? What will you do to get City Hall to be open on Fridays?
Well, the real key to that, and we've been working on that, is we have to get an agreement with the city union in order to go back to a 5th workday. During the negotiations, I have specifically asked the union that in order to reach an agreement between the city and the union, they must address that particular issue, and that's how it will be addressed. Once we get it in the contract, then we will be able to execute it. So the effort has to be to get it approved in contract.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia?
And I would agree. That is definitely an issue that is addressed with the union and bargaining, or I should say the bargaining unit of ASME. And, but I believe that the community is requesting that this is something that should have been expedited many years ago to provide those services that are wanted and needed for the community. Also, with that being said, it's also important to remember that in order to open up on Friday and to have employees, the financial status and the financial bearing will be a big question. So that has to be paid, and where will that come from?
Thank you. Ms. Hicks Clayton?
So currently, City Hall is closed on Fridays. This is a result of an action that was taken in 2011 by a letter of understanding to cut back and to save city during the economic downturn. The savings was projected at $300,000. However, due to the overtime that is now incurred to offer those basic services we're talking about, the overtime is outpacing those savings. So absolutely true, we need to restore the 5-day work week to better provide you, the residents, with the services that you pay for. And of course, we have heard, and I agree, it does have to come in the contract negotiation. And at this point in time, even as city council members, we have not been provided updates. This is something that will be decided before the election.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia? Recently, residents have expressed their concerns about the aesthetics of our city. Are you in favor of using court-ordered workforce program on the weekends?
I would be in favor, yes, absolutely, as long as it's something that's adjudicated directly through the judge's office and through his courtroom, or her courtroom, absolutely. Work hours is something that can be worked out, and those individuals, I'm sure, would be more than happy to volunteer their services for cleanups around city properties.
Thank you. Ms. Hicks Clayton?
Would you please repeat the question?
Sure. Recently, residents have expressed their concerns about the aesthetics of our city. Are you in favor of using a court-ordered workforce program on the weekends?
The short answer is yes, but I would like to elaborate on that question and the answer. Absolutely, the beautification of our city, maintenance of properties, which falls on the homeowners, as well as those that rent homes, is very important to our community. And I want to elaborate because I believe the City Beautiful Commission is something that should be reinstated, as well as maximize using our youth organizations and service organizations such as Lions, Kiwanis, and Rotary Club. They do fabulous work for our community. We need to encourage community partnerships through the service organizations engaging our youth, as well as the community partnerships that are available, for example, with the U.S. Army, that will help us. I want to also talk about neighborhood groups and working with them to address those issues in the pocket neighborhoods. I do want to draw attention to Warren corridor here, which is something that was a grant opportunity but needs to be maintained by the business owners. I think code enforcement is really key here, the following through on addressing those issues as far as how your city looks and how it looks to attract others.
Thank you. Mr. Poletto?
I have to thank the courts, Bill Decker particularly, and all the efforts. They assist the city in a multitude of maintenance items, and they do a very good job at enhancing the aesthetics of the city. Additionally, very proud of the fact the rain gardens that we have at two locations in the city, and the expansion of that particular program, which not only benefits the environment, but also adds to the aesthetic beauty of the city.
Thank you. Ms. Hicks Clayton, what will you do to improve financial transparency in our city government?
The first step, and as a city council member I can speak firsthand, the transparency begins in the mayor's office. And it translates into what information is being available to city council members before they vote on an issue, whether it's appropriations or the budget itself. Those council members need open and honest discussion and adequate information provided in a timely fashion so they have time to respond to it, review it, and be educated on their vote. For the residents, I do believe in transparency, full transparency, as it is your tax dollars, and you should have a say in how your tax dollars are spent. I would do that again with open forums, visiting in neighborhood groups, as well as through the website, have that information available to you. And of course, I'm always available. I offer constituent office hours. I have since 2012, and I will continue to do so as your next mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Poletto.
we're very proud of the fact that when we've been able to financially improve the situation in the city. All of the annual reports and monthly budgets are provided to the city council on a regular basis. We share all that information, and none of it can be hidden anyway, but we are more than welcome to share. We're very proud of what we've been able to accomplish here and turn the economic situation around to a great $5.4 million surplus.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Sitting on the Crestwood School District Board of Education and also the treasurer, I have an opportunity of looking also at the billings, payables, and receivables that come through the school district. So it's not only a responsibility that I have to the Board of Education and administration, it's also a responsibility that I have for the residents of the Crestwood School District. I would want to make sure that the entire budget, line by line, is something that is made available to the residents of this community, and that they also have the opportunity of providing input not only to the council, to department heads, as well as to the mayor's office on where our priorities should be, but that we all are working collectively.
Thank you. Mr. Palazzo, how do you feel we should deal with drug abuse in our youth?
I'm getting more and more concerned about the opiates. I went to 2 particular conferences in the last month. In the county of Monroe, the amount of people that are injecting synthetics, heroin and others, is just deplorable. This is not a particular problem just in Dearborn Heights, but it's a regional area. I made an outreach to Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, and I asked her that we need to put together some of our mayors, people at the federal, state, local level, and all get together to attack this major problem, because it's getting more and more severe. And it's also lending itself with people that are my age, a little bit younger than me, who end up getting prescription drugs and then are getting addicted. And this is now starting to get many different ages. We need to react quickly.
Mr. Garcia?
Well, opiate drugs is a major concern. I believe Wayne County, and this was back several months ago, stated that there was 14 deaths in the county, I should say 14 deaths in Dearborn Heights that were a result of heroin use. And the drug epidemic is out there. It crosses all boundaries. It doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor, black or white. It crosses all boundaries and it's out there. Education is key. Being able to provide some type of resource, a local government that is working with local school districts, whether they're private or public, and trying to offer some support, and as well as providing that support to the community and then to your employees. It's devastating. It's something that exists, and I believe that education is key.
Thank you. Ms. Hicks-Clayton?
Thank you. The opioid drug use, and now is really abuse, starts with the prescription drugs that are found in a cabinet at home. It's a growing concern. It's a very real issue. We're seeing it across the board, not just with youth, but all ages, which is very concerning. I do believe that community outreach and education is key. It's something that's necessary, including partnering with our school districts. Though we're a different entity of government, we have a shared vision, and we should, for what's best for our community and best for our residents, which we are charged with that responsibility for your health and safety. So I encourage that partnership, but also partnership with your local organizations, including your nonprofits, for example, like Access, to provide some health care and, again, information and outreach and intervention. The other thing I wanted to add is the drug courts. We've seen it very successful in many communities, and I think that is a good investment to have that available for those type of offenses.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia, many residents have taken to social media to voice their concerns regarding how they have been treated by city employees and a low morale at City Hall. What can be done to rectify this situation?
Well, the social media, it does exist, whether it's Snapchat, Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, it's out there. It exists and it's out there. And it's very important to have a an individual that is seasoned in social media, that is able to go through and to read the comments and be able to answer. Right, wrong, or indifference, it's very important that all comments are answered in a timely fashion. In regards to low morale or employees that may be a bit short with residents, it's just, well, first of all, let's go with being short with residents. It shouldn't be accepted. That individual or individuals represent the city of Dearborn Heights. They represent the mayor's office, and they should treat all residents fairly and kindly. And we would want to make sure that we work very close with our employees to boost the morale. Let's think outside the box around here.
Thank you. Ms. Hicks-Clayton?
Thank you. So social media plays a very important role in communication and civic engagement. I've long stood for that. In fact, as a city council member, I brought that forward as an agenda item, including a resource that would help us as a city better manage and more effectively manage the communication between residents and City Hall, including an app that would give residents an opportunity to file a complaint, whether it's an ordinance complaint. We need to listen and respond to your concerns. This is why we are here. We work for you. I also want to encourage our residents to know that there are other ways to file those complaints, like the online reporting. Sometimes you're reporting through social media and it comes across as a complaint. The people who need to hear it may not be hearing it. And so there is a better way to communicate. Again, if social media works for you, I encourage you to do so. But there are other means, such as calling the ordinance department or sending them an email. I do believe morale in City Hall can be raised by consistently applying things.
Mr. Poletko?
Morale is very important because we are a service organization, and the only way you're going to get good service is by having employees that will provide good service. There are some employees who periodically have had difficulty in dealing with the public. We are taking care of those situations. We have a new website that will be instituted in the very near future that will provide residents an opportunity to voice their concerns. And I look forward to reading and looking at every one of those particular concerns. So we believe we're going to improve in those areas.
Thank you. Ms. Hicks-Clayton, what is, in your opinion, let me say that over again. What is, in your opinion, Dearborn Heights lacking? What is lacking in Dearborn Heights?
So what I believe is lacking, and this comes from hearing from you, the residents, what's important to you. That is important to me. But what I'm hearing is there's several issues. Warren Valley Golf Course, the purchase and securing that property, preserving it as a green space. When I proposed the conservation easement language, it was rejected. I also believe the 911 outsourcing is still an issue for us due to the mismanagement of over $5 million. You know, we had police and fire on doors asking you for additional taxation, but then we're turning around 2 years later and talking about selling the equipment we just purchased at a loss of over $500,000 for the taxpayers. There are several issues: communication, transparency, being available to you, open door. Again, having your voice at the table because we work for you. That's what I see as a vision for the mayor's office, is to reform it so we respond to you and we work for you in your best interest.
Thank you. Mr. Poletko?
Same question again?
In your opinion, what is lacking in Dearborn Heights?
I think this is a great city, and I think the one thing that would be major is having all of the elected officials be working as a team. We have too much of disagreement amongst the council. That has jeopardized the operations of the city. It's important that we all come together on the same page and effectively work together to solve the problems in the city and make it better.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia?
Yes. What I would say is going to be lacking is the issue of technology, wrapping around social media, being on the Crestwood board. We are moving so quickly and so fast forward with providing technology for the students, and that's something that is lacking here. Being able to use this information to get it out to our constituents, to our residents, to the people that matter most. Working at trying to provide some type of online payment services to make it convenient for those that are not able to get to City Hall. Communication. Communication is key. Communicating with the residents of Dearborn Heights and providing those coffee hours or those meetings, those meeting times, so that their concerns are being heard.
Thank you. Mr. Collecto, what is your position on the 911 dispatch consolidation?
I am not moving forward, nor would I suggest the city move forward with the study that was done and paid for by the state of Michigan between Dearborn and Dearborn Heights. It's not proven to be economically feasible. I don't see that as a possibility.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia?
I don't think it's the wise choice for the city to move forward with an action like that. Keeping our dispatchers trained and having the state-of-the-art equipment, having the digital system that we do have, it would be just a total waste to hand that over to another agency that just doesn't have it. 911 is important. The employees that are working here, our dispatchers, know the community, they know the areas, and it provides a service. And as we have heard in the past, this is a service that our residents want, and we have to be able to provide first responders. We don't want to outsource emergency services.
Thank you. Ms. Hicks-Clayton?
Thank you. In 2011, due to mismanagement of over $5 million to save our city from bankruptcy, the mayor asked Police and Fire to walk door to door to ask you, the residents, for additional taxation to ensure that our city services, including public safety, was not interrupted. The voters approved the ballot question. But less than 2 years later, our mayor, in conjunction with Dearborn Mayor, began discussing the outsourcing of our 911 emergency dispatch services. Furthermore, the mayor's plan to sell our newly purchased 911 dispatch equipment. The cost was nearly $750,000, paid for by you, the taxpayers. Wanted to sell it for $180,000. That's resulting in a $500,000 loss to you, the taxpayers. I oppose the outsourcing of 911. I have from day one when the letter was presented to City Council and voted on in April 2016. I support the hiring of 911
Thank you.
dispatchers.
I thought personal tax was not going to be allowed, and that was a personal tax.
No, that wasn't.
You were correct. I should have interrupted.
Because the information was not true.
If you could refrain from making personal attacks and talk about what you would do instead of what your opponent has done. Mr. Garcia, the next question. How do you feel about the current garbage service, and should we continue with GFL?
Well, it's an interesting question. I was very satisfied with waste management. I did not see an issue with that, although I do feel that the recycling system is something that was lacking. GFL, well, their administration, their executive staff have had some issues, and it's still currently in the court system. And as we have seen, many individuals in that area, in the Macomb area, Chesterfield to be exact, are involved in some issues that they shouldn't have been. Now, let's bring it back home here to Dearborn Heights. Are they providing a service? Yes, because that is something that we as residents have asked for, and we expect to have our trash picked up on a weekly basis. Are they providing a good service? From what I can see, yes. But I do still feel that there could be some improvements. And one of the biggest things is, again, communication with the community, with the residents, when it comes to big decisions like trash.
Thank you. Ms. Hicks-Clayton?
Thank you. So when the City Council was presented the trash hauler contract, there were several questions by City Council members who wanted to hear more from Waste Management. We were not provided that opportunity, so we voted on Green for Life without a backup plan. There has been transition challenges, of course, and we're hearing from residents on a regular basis. We're encouraging them to make sure those are being logged in. As a City Council, we can review at any time after the 6-month mark has passed. There is an opt-out clause that does not require a pause. I would encourage us, and that's something I would do as your mayor, is to continue to evaluate that service to to our residents? Is it meeting our expectations of what is provided for by the contract and by what we are paying?
Mr. Gladco?
One of the things that I feel very important about is the fact that major contracts need to be bid out periodically. By bidding that particular contract out the last 2 times, we've saved considerable money. The last time, over $1 million a year. That's extremely important. GFL has got a decent reputation amongst the communities that it serves, and it's under new management. It's a Canadian operation that is actually running it. The city of Dearborn just recently awarded their rubbish contract to GFL. So there's a continuation and an expansion. Anytime you go through changing companies, and we've done it twice now that I've been here, is that it takes a while to work out all the kinks. And with the addition of the dumpsters, that's added extra complexity. We will get there, we'll have the best service around, and we're approaching that area.
Thank you. Ms. Hicks Clayton, how would you vote on a proposal to sell any of the Warren Valley Golf Course to a private developer?
So, our residents are aware that the city of Dearborn Heights, by the city council, has approved a purchase agreement to purchase the golf course for $1.8 million, which I will tell you is the tip of the financial iceberg. I want to see it retained as a green space for many reasons. It is the floodplain, the designated wetlands, the infrastructure liability, the flooding liability. I do not believe it should be developed any part of it, which is why when I advocated for that conservation easement, I wanted the language to be written into that purchase agreement. However, it was denied and rejected. Currently, I'm very concerned that that language is not in there. There's nothing guaranteeing that this property will not be developed. So I stand where I stand to oppose that development and have the language included in that contract to protect that golf course as a green space.
Mr. Paletko?
I take great pride in the fact that when we became aware of the fact that it was going to be sold in the golf course, developed into 200 properties, that with Commissioner Webb, we took a very positive, effective way of blocking that particular transaction on 2 different approaches. One was to get sufficient support on the Wayne County Commission to block it, and the other one, which I proposed to the council, and that was to buy the property. In order to get, and I don't want that golf course developed, and very early in the process, we asked the county about having in the contract where the property would be kept in a conservatory language. And if you can't force somebody you're meeting the negotiations to put it in, it is not the administration that's blocking it. I'm in favor of it. Once we acquire the property, we have, as residents of Dearborn Heights, full control over it, and that's when we put a stop and
Thank
go.
Mr. Garcia?
Well, it's definitely a golf course for a reason. And it definitely has been a golf course and not developed for a reason, and that's because it floods. It floods every time that there is a rain. And I am truly against building anything out into the golf course area other than keeping it a golf course and maybe looking at finding a private company, management company to come out and manage it, maybe turning it into, instead of 18 or 36 holes, into a 9 or an 8 hole, but a park service that is made available to the residents of the city so that they can enjoy it, and maybe somewhere down the line with some thinking outside the box and creativity is something that can generate some revenue for the community.
Thank you. Mr. Paletko, should funds be allocated for customer service training for city employees?
We have spent resources on that, and absolutely. I had training when I was at Ford Motor Company and all my employees in that regards, and so certainly we are in favor of it.
Mr. Garcia?
Absolutely. As a board member, it's important that our teachers and our support staff go through professional development, and that is something that is every 3 months within our district, and it's something that it can't hurt. to use your HR department to go, and again, thinking outside the box and finding out what kind of services are made available, as well as reaching out to the employees and asking them what is it that they would like to see to help make their jobs better and to provide a good service so that when residents come into the city, not only are they greeted with a smile, they're walking out with a smile.
Thank you, Ms. Hicks Clayton.
Thank you. Would you repeat that, please?
Sure. Should funds be allocated for customer service training for city employees?
Okay. So as a retired educator, absolutely. I support continuing education and training opportunities. I myself, as a city council member, participate on a regular basis so I can learn new skills, so I can better do my job and better serve our community. I feel the same way for our employees. I do believe they should have regular feedback and also be given the opportunity to provide feedback and plan together, but participate in service training opportunities. Customer service, not just customer service, but anything that relates to their job that can help them to better do their job, better perform that, and provide you, the resident, with better service. So I do support that. I do support the feedback process and creating a positive work environment. And I think you do that by giving the resident, or excuse me, the employee the chance to have professional development that raises their confidence, they enjoy their job more, and we see more productivity as a result.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia, what is your position on regionalization and shared services?
Depends on who has control, plain and simple. There are some services that lend themselves and are very, very helpful. We do have a shared service in our school district where our food services director spends approximately 75% of her time in our district and then is shared out with other districts, and there is monies that come in to help subsidize that. It works out great because we are actually the person that, or we are actually the district that is involved in that. I do believe that there may be some shared services here. Don't quote me on it, but there may be some shared services here, and they do lend themselves. It's just a matter of finding out what is best for the employees, what's best for the city, and who's going to benefit.
Thank you. Ms. Hicks Clayton?
I think it's a conversation that we see across the board for local governments. There is a need for some of the shared services. I would be cautious on what those shared services are. There are some things that I would not recommend, including the 911, police, or fire. I do see there's opportunities for, depending on what you're talking about, DPW equipment, things like that, that you can offer that would be beneficial to the city, including the cost savings and increased efficiency. However, again, I would be cautious and make sure we have a conversation that it does not affect the quality of the services being delivered to our residents.
Thank you. Mr. Koletko?
Yeah, we're a city of 60,000, so actually we're a good-sized city, and financially we are kind of in the driver's seat that we can make a determination. This has proven to be very beneficial in numerous areas. One is that we share services in the library with the city of Dearborn. I've heard nothing but compliments in regards to that particular program. In addition, we utilized the city of Dearborn IT department because we did not have sufficient amount of resources to have our own, but that is an area that we have also worked with a neighbor. We looked at the possibility of taking over the Garden City Fire Department. We got a state grant similar to the grant that the Consolidated Dispatch with Dearborn was looked at. That was rejected by both communities. It did not work. But it's important that we continue to look at opportunities. It reminds me also that there is in the DPW that many of the communities are looking at joint programs in regards to
Ms. Hicks Clayton, will you see to it that investors in property start right away to bring them up to code, keeping grass mowed, weed and brush removed, snow plowed? What can you do to improve enforcement of city ordinances?
Code enforcement is very important to maintaining the quality of life for others, your property upkeep. Whether it's a rental property or a homeowner, we all want to have nice, clean, safe neighborhoods. I think it's very important to support our ordinance department and their officers with resources and training opportunities so they can better do their job. But the piece that we need as well is the engagement from our residents. They need to have an effective means to communicate, which brings me back to what I shared earlier about an app that you could download to your phone to do reporting that would be convenient. And again, we have to increase communication opportunities for our residents to be engaged. I would also encourage us to work with our neighborhood associations to address issues that are impacting them, as they are aware of what's happening in their neighborhoods. They should work with the ordinance department as a liaison program to effectively communicate and address those concerns.
Thank you. Mr. Poletko.
Yeah, I'm very proud of the fact that what the ordinance department looks like today in relation to what we've had in the past. Under Jack McIntyre's leadership, we have done a considerable amount of great work and made the city a much more beautiful place to live, work, and play. I will tell you that a lot of the complaints I get are from ordinance people, or not ordinance people, but residents who are mad because the ordinance department went out there and told them to clean up. And that's probably 80% of the complaints that we receive in the city. But we have continued because it's important. I want to live in a big, clean city. I take care of my property. I want others to take care of theirs.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
Could you please just repeat the question?
Sure. Will you see to it that investors in property start right away to bring them up to code, keep grass mowed, weed and brush removed, and snow removed? What can you do to improve enforcement of city ordinances?
Well, number one, absolutely, and yes, it's very important that potential businesses work very closely with the ordinance department, but it's also the issue of communication. There has to be communication between that department and those business owners so they know what it is that is expected of them. As a homeowner myself, I know that it's important that the yard gets mowed, that the edging gets done, and that you don't have waste or rubbish all over your front yard. But it's the communication piece. When you have a new business come in, maybe some type of welcoming book so that they know what it is that they have to do. Do they have to purchase their own cans, or is it something that's provided by GFL? And the enforcement. Enforcement is key. They have to understand that it's important that if they want to bring in customers, they have to provide a nice, clean environment. Same thing that we're doing in the city, they need to do as a business.
Thank you. We've reached the end of our question period, so we're going to start with our 2-minute closing statements. Mr. Poletko, if we could start with you, please.
As I indicated before, I'm very, very proud to be the mayor of the city of Dearborn Heights. And I look forward to some of the great things that will be coming very shortly. Items like the expansion of the fire EMS. I'm really excited having brought to the city AquaSite. It's a water quality package program in which currently it will monitor an additional or every other monitor we have to make sure that our water is good and safe to drink. We talked briefly about finances. We're going to go through another recession at some point. I've been very proud of the fact that I've been able to have a $5.4 million surplus, and we'll continue to build on that so we can look at the kinds of things that we talked about today, 5-day work week and other items of that sort. I look forward to having that golf course break even, if not make a small profit, with private managers who will know how to perform at that particular location, and to keep it a green belt forever. I'm also encouraged. I've been working with Mayor Solers of Taylor on a Van Born corridor. We looked with the incoming of Ford Motor Company employees at the Masco site and at the Kmart site. We're going to do some great things in that particular corridor, and we're going to do it jointly with the city of Taylor and also probably with Allen Park. I was surprised. We didn't get a single question on diversity. This community is really diverse. I take that as an extreme compliment. I've worked very, very hard to make sure that we all and everybody who lives here feels very comfortable. Because I believe that with all of us working together, there's nothing that we can't solve, and we can make the city even greater than it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hicks Clayton?
I I want to thank the League of Women Voters, as well as everyone that's here this evening for joining us, and those that may be watching this program. I think the outreach of education on voting is very important, so thank you for your service. If elected mayor, my priorities include bringing people together for honest discussions and addressing the problems and creating solutions which work for you, for your family, and for our community. This includes economic development, as well as revitalizing our neighborhoods so they're clean and safe in places where you want to be and raise your family. I want to support the Citizen Advisory Council so all demographics of our community is heard at the table and represented on those issues, and roll up my sleeves and get out there with you side by side. I will reform the office of the mayor, which will listen to you, respond to your concerns, and work for you, the resident. Together, we will build a better Dearborn Heights. I want Dearborn Heights to be the best place to live, to work, and for you to raise your family. Together, we will achieve this. Thank you, and don't forget to vote on August 8th. My name is Lisa Hicks Clayton. I'm running for mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Well, thank you very much to the League of Women Voters and to the residents that are here and those that will be watching out in TV land. As a lifetime member of this community, I understand how important it is to be committed and to be transparent. As a member of the Crestwood Board of Education, as a former member of the Westwood School District Board of Education, I know how important it is to be an elected official and to represent the contingency of the people. The office of the mayor is an important office. It is an office that represents each and every one of you, and it's important that we be transparent. We want to make sure that we bring residents, I'm sorry, I apologize. We want to make sure that we bring our visitors to Dearborn Heights. And we don't want them just using Ford Road or Telegraph as a corridor to travel. We want them stopping here. We want them shopping here. We want them buying homes here, buying businesses. We want our students that are leaving the city of Dearborn Heights, or maybe even the state of Michigan, to consider moving back home, starting a business, and flourishing here in the city of Dearborn Heights. This is truly a city with a future. It truly is a city with a future. But we need to think outside the box. We need to try new things, new changes. The only way that that can be done is with the support of residents like you, working together with the mayor's office as well as the city council and all the other elected officials, and making sure that we move forward and continue to strive as a city. So I'm just asking you for your support when you vote on August 8th, and to remember the name Ed Garcia. Thank you.
Thank you. The polls will be open on August 8th from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Absentee ballots are available at the clerk's office. We thank the city of Dearborn Heights for allowing us to use this facility and for airing this forum. Candidates, we appreciate the commitment you have made to run for office. We know this is not easy. We also thank the audience for your interest and your good questions. Thank you. The forum has ended.